Thank you very much for coming. I feel like a dinner with 60 of my closest friends, so if there's anybody that doesn't know me, my name's Jan Kestle with Environics Analytics, and we're really delighted that you've joined us here today for this special evening where we can have a chat with Scott Howe. I'm going to say some things about him, nice things, in an introduction in a minute, but I just want to let you know what we want to do today. First of all, I think we're all faced with this challenge, which seems so obvious, but it's what people live all day, which is we're striving for better results and better outcomes in our business, especially in this day and age. And yet it's really difficult. LiveRamp's data collaboration platform helps companies actually transform their data into better outcomes, and that's what we want to share with you today. And in Canada, the partnership between Environics Analytics and LiveRamp is how we're able to bring this great technology from LiveRamp, that's a global technology, and how we can Canadianize it. So the objective is to level set. I was saying to Scott earlier, I still have people say, oh, well, isn't that the onboarding company? Or, you know, what does LiveRamp have to do with Canada? So today is Scott's day. We're not going to talk about us and all the things that we're doing to Canadianize it. Assume when Scott explains to you about LiveRamp and the technology and how they're helping businesses change their outcomes. These are the things that we're doing in partnership with Canada. But we're going to focus today on the LiveRamp technology and what an amazing platform and not only a platform, but accompanied by a vision and a set of tools. Now, Scott's been president and chief executive officer of LiveRamp since 2011. And so just think about that. Prior to joining that company and doing that, he served as a corporate vice president at Microsoft Advertising Business Group, which was a multi-billion-dollar business. And his mandate there was working on online advertising, including search, display, ad networks, in-game, mobile, digital cable, and a variety of enterprise software solutions. And that was all before 2011. So that means that he's pretty out front there in what's been happening in the ad tech industry. Before that, he was with the Boston Consulting Group, served on the IAB board, and just to name a few credentials, is a graduate of Princeton and Harvard. So I guess pretty smart guy, and pretty lucky for us to be in a partnership with him. So I'm going to dive right in, and the first question that I want Scott to really talk to us about is, as we say on this first slide, why is it so hard for businesses to use data to really get better outcomes? And I warned Scott, I'd stolen a few slides off their website that if he wants to talk to her, he can talk about whatever he wants, and I know he will. But why is it so difficult? And I think this is great.
So before I even go there, let me just say that I'm the lucky one here. First off, like, this is my favorite thing to do. Is to be in a room with incredibly smart people. And I say that selfishly because all innovation comes from conversations like we're having tonight. And so, you know, I can't wait to see the ideas that come out of today and tomorrow as well. And I also consider myself really fortunate. I actually grew up in the Midwest. I've been to Toronto many times. It's one of my favorite cities, and you're also blessed to live here. Wow. If I've been here 40 times in my life, this might be the greatest day I've ever seen. It's perfect out there. And I don't know if this is like the impact of global warming or what, but if it is, like, bring it on, more global warming. I mean, if summers are like this in Toronto, I think the entire world. Anyway.
Why is it so hard?
Listen, all of us are a little bit under the gun. I mean, we're asked to deliver results. And years ago, when I was at the Boston Consulting Group, I got staffed on Qantas Airlines. And I rebuilt their yield management system using Microsoft Access, the database that Microsoft had at the time. And the big epiphany was that, oh my God, there's so much data that's out there. And if you can just harness you make a lot better decisions than if you're flying blind. And that was right at the time the internet dawned. And, for the last 20 years, our industry, marketing, commerce, I mean, it's been driven by smart data utilization. And any of you who work at a company can sympathize. Jan put this Samsung example up here. I know one of their executives is here tonight. And so, we can all relate to the fact that just getting data, figuring out what it means, getting the right data from across silos within a company is incredibly difficult, right? You think about a company like Samsung or Nike or Disney. The data sits everywhere. At Microsoft, it was impossible to make sense of our data because it sat in so many different silos in the company. And so just that problem is hard to solve. But when you think about Samsung, if you think about the data within their silos, that's represented inside the television, the smart television set. In reality, a lot of the most interesting data that they want to harness doesn't sit within their walls at all. It sits at their partner. And so it's, the ability to know, did someone go to Home Depot and buy a smart appliance? Did they go to the Best Buy website and look at Samsung products? Did they read a New York Times article about the latest, coolest mobile phone offer? And if you're not ingesting that information and utilizing it, then you can't possibly be as effective as, say, a company like Amazon, where their silo is so much bigger, and they're seeing all those different browsing points and commerce points.
So you've solved that, right? So,
well,
or at least,
I don't think we've solved
not
it.
you, but together the data collaboration concept and the platform has been something that's kind of gone from brands having their own data. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the journey that, and I was saying earlier, not the data onboarding company, the company that really has provided a data collaboration platform. So how does data collaboration work? The truth is, you're a lot farther along in the US than we are in Canada. But, we're moving quickly to catch up fast. So what can we learn from how you went from this to this, which is like all the connectedness from the inside to the outside? Put yourselves in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And what happens?
Well, I don't know if we're in the middle of it. I think you're in it. And it's this recognition that to succeed in today's world, you can't go it alone. You have to collaborate with other companies. What's the old mantra? You and I have been in the data space. You're younger than me, certainly. But what's the old adage? It's in catalog marketing, if someone's bought from the catalog, send them another message, right? And then it was a short hop from that to, oh, well, what if all the catalog marketers started to collaborate? And hence was born a company called Abacus, which, helped them collaborate. And all of a sudden, we had a decade of the golden age of catalogs because, if you bought something from J. Crew, you probably were a pretty good candidate to get a catalog from Land's End and buy something from that as well. When you apply those things that aren't new to our space, you realize all of you have something in common, which is the thing you have in common is the same customers. But you see them at different touch points. Maybe Bell sees them browsing. Maybe Samsung sees them over a smart device. but you all see them somewhere. And so if you start to share that insight, then the magic happens, because together you have such a richer, deeper set of signals than you would have on your own. And so that helps with the marketing. But, where we're going, it's essential, because like smart marketing is one thing and doing all that stuff, but in a world of AI, which is where we're going, all these things are signals. And so if you don't start collaborating and collecting all the signals, then your models will be insufficient relative to the folks that do. And so like we're at this, the next 5 years of business for this room, it's going to be the funnest we've ever had. And I say it's going to be challenging too, but like there has never been a bigger opportunity, because if you capture the power of your data, like you'll generate better results immediately. But then if you start to do the collaboration with one another, you will win and set yourself up for like the next 3 decades of growth as the world eventually starts to absorb agentic AI models and smart agents, all of which are fueled by collaborative data, the data that you share in common. And so, what is LiveRamp? You drew us sitting in the middle there, but, my vision from the get-go, even when I was at Microsoft, I went to Steve Ballmer one day and I said, hey, Steve, I think we should build a business and just connect all the sources of data to all the uses of data and create a network that anybody can plug into and utilize. It's like a public utility for the good of all. And he said, that's a really interesting idea, and we're not going to do that.
So you went to LiveRamp.
Yeah. He didn't say it quite as nice as that. But I love Steve. But, that's what we've done over the last 10 years. And it's not about LiveRamp at all. It really is about the power of the network. And so, worldwide, we work with every major holding company. I want to say like 96% of time spent online through publishers. Trillion consumers, 4 trillion, more records than there are probably people. Given the fact that some of us have multiple and so, we're here to help you, and, whoever you look at, it's almost like the data ecosystem. Imagine a dinner party where everyone in the world is invited. You got to figure out who do you want to sit next to, because you have things in common with them. And so whoever it is you want to sit next to, we can help you figure out how to accelerate the partnerships and do interesting things. Whether it's co-marketing, whether it's measurement, whether it's fueling AI applications, but it's all about how do we harness the power of the collective data of you and the person.
So a few years ago, when Environics Analytics was providing all kinds of data and analysis to a lot of the people in this room, we really thought it was important to step up on the objective to build a way to help organizations in Canada collaborate. And our friends at Bell invested in our technology to help us start think about clean rooms and think about data collaboration. But we found that it was a pretty challenging thing. And so when we had the opportunity to partner with LiveRamp and bring the tech that was hardened and that was built and that was working around the world and thinking about global brands, it was like there's this container that's ready that we can pour different things in, and the connections and the combinations. And so brands, agency, publishers, consumers, data, technology, all that data being able to come together powers the opportunity to do a lot of things. I'm just going to ask you to do a little bit of a refresh for the people in the room about exactly how how the LiveRamp product works and how the layers work together so that we can level set the things that we can go from what we're doing now to where we're going to go in the future.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
It's your slide. I took it off your website.
Yeah, no, but I'm just going to go on a tangent, completely different direction.
Go wherever you want to go.
So each of you has permission data, authenticated files, right? And think about what you have and what someone else might have. It may be that you have your CRM files and you're an agency or you're a marketer, and you want to activate that on Google or Facebook. That's a really simple use case. Now, Google and Facebook also have authenticated audiences. They have gotten permission from those users, but they might not know those users quite the same way you do. So enter the network, because we just help you make the match such that the permission you got from your user for your loyalty program matches up with the permission that Meta got from their user when they signed in to Facebook, and then allows you to serve targeted ads on Facebook or Insta, and then for them to link that back up and say, this is what was shown, and did it result in a conversion, either online or maybe in store, because you're doing collaboration even through the point of sale. That's a very simple example. Now, it can get infinitely more interesting. And most of the most interesting collaborations are when people say, hey, yeah, we're all in the same network. We're all using the same technology. So why can't we spin up, multiple partnerships? And it's just it's as simple as, saying, I want to partner with this company and this company. We have our T's and C's already in place. We just move a slider. We each control what the others can do, all done through a clean room. Can even be done without movement of data. Super easy, but you get into these multi-party collaborations, and then the magic happens. And, one of the case studies we published a year ago was Triscuit crackers, owned by Mondelez, Pinterest, and Albertsons. Each had a unique data asset or a unique asset. And so Triscuit brought the budgets, and they had a pretty good sense of who their ideal client was. Like, buys a lot of crackers, general sense. Albertsons immediately said, you know what, Mondelez, Triscuit, you actually don't know who buys crackers. We know who buys crackers because we have our loyalty program and our point of sale data. And we're telling you, Mondelez, that your segmentation is not the one we would launch. And so Triscuit said, that's interesting. And so they launched what they thought would work. And then they also had a group of what Albertsons suggested. And then, Albertsons, although they have a retail media network, they don't have tons of reach on that. So they brought in Pinterest, who had a lot more reach, to help serve the advertising. It could have just as easily been Meta. It could have been Google. It could have been Trade Desk. It could have been, Netflix. But no one buys Triscuit crackers is kind of a stale category, right? They got 20% lift from that effort in case sales, and I want to say it was like 16% lift in new cracker buyers. And even in a sleepy category, that kind of collaboration is game-changing. And that's for, a relatively mature category. For things that are fast growth, like triple-digit lifts, we're seeing a lot of those through these kinds of collaborations. So I had the Samsung example up there earlier. I mean, imagine the partnerships that a company like Samsung is forging, because they are both a retailer, they are a publisher, and they are a manufacturer. And so they have smart screens and eyeballs. They have, great product. And there's so many ways a company like that can partner. Listen, I know that this is newer to this market, but there's nothing holding it back. Like the people in this room have the ability to get way ahead of the folks that aren't. And if I had one piece of advice for everyone tonight, it's think about what's your wish list? If you could know something about your customer or how they buy that you don't know today because someone else knows it, who has that information? And armed with that, if you had 3 to 5 companies that you'd like to do something interesting, well, Jan can make that happen in a couple weeks time, just like that. And literally you can be out and running and exploring, experimenting and succeeding, really, really fast. We all come from a marketing background. Sorry, I'm kind of babbling.
No, it's great.
But,
I got your Samsung connected up here though.
In the marketing world, listen, can any agency ever forge a 3-year head start on anybody else? No. Can any company forge a huge head start on anybody else? No. I mean, marketing is nothing if not a copycat industry. But in this space of hyper intelligence that comes from data, you don't need to be 3 years ahead. You need to be 3 months ahead, 1 month ahead. And if you're always a few months ahead of everybody else, guess what? Over time, you win and they lose. And so how do you get ahead? It's by being smarter than anybody else. And how do you be smarter than anybody else? Maybe some of you are just brilliant. I know I'm not. But together, the power of this room is brilliant. And most of you don't compete. All you got to do is decide that you want to collaborate on the data, and you will be the winner.
And on that note, we're going to get that going. But now we have another challenge or opportunity that we need to think about, which is how tomorrow we can start bringing AI and all those wonderful new tools into this world of data collaboration. I know it's something you've got a lot of thoughts on. I want you to end up letting people know what you're thinking.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Going back to what you have on this slide here, I mean, this is the Samsung example, and there are all these different partners and use cases about, each one of those touch points are places where if you could bring the data to bear, you would deliver a different experience. Probably 10 years ago, Disney invited me down. They had said, we want you to come down to a 2-day offsite. It's going to be a sequel. All right, no, that's cool. But it was at the theme park. It was at Disney. So I was like, I gotta go. And I show up and in what is it, MGM Studios or something there. They'd closed it off and built a mini Disney. Instead of the front of the theme park, they had a instead of a restaurant, they had a hot dog cart. Instead of the monorail, they had a toy train. And in a space of 100 yards, they had thematics for the whole park. They invited 20 partners. And they said, the mission is for you to walk the theme and imagine at every step, what could you do to enhance the customer experience if you could apply that? And so you get very quickly to how would the character greet you? How would the cast greet you when you walk into the park? Imagine, at the time my daughter was young and loved Disney princesses with Lauren. Imagine if They could greet her and say, "Oh, Lauren, it's so great to see you, and your favorite Disney princess Belle is just down the street." That would make an amazing experience, truly magical. You can only do it through data, and Disney wouldn't have all that data; it'd have to collaborate. Now imagine, and that was 10 years ago, and they've made a ton of progress. And all of you could imagine a similar customer journey and how you could use data at every touch point. Now I'm bringing it up. Imagine in a world of AI. Like if you thought about your customers and how it changed in a world of AI, it is probably, you would draw it completely differently in 5 years. And so all of those processes are going to change. The commonality is that to make those processes magical, you got to feel them, you got to have the signal. And so now is the time to start thinking about what your customer journey, which is unique for each one of you, looks like in a world of AI deployment. And what do you do? The way we think about it at LiveRamp is we say, hey, there are probably going to be thousands, maybe tens of thousands of AI applications. There'll only be a handful of LLMs, but all kinds of companies are going to write specialized applications using those LLMs. And, one might be mainstream use might be dynamic creative. Another mainstream use might be to create a customer segment. Some of them might be very unique to what you're trying to do. How do I message someone in a physical store real time? How do I create a chatbot that replaces my customer service? But all of those things, you need to be thinking about how do you upload the data. We're trying to, just as right now, we've invited all of the publishers in the world to be part of the network. We're doing the same thing with all the AI. So as of this morning, we have 56 different partners in some stage of activation. We roughly split them into 6 groups. Let's see if I can remember. It's commerce, it's chat, it's search, it's dynamic targeting, it's creative, and each one of those categories has, anywhere from 5 to 10. And so, our goal is that no matter what you want to do, there will be someone in the network from an AI perspective, a partner who can fulfill that for you, and then you can start to test and use your data.
And this will be, your data will still be safe, and the AI will be available within the platform.
Yeah, I mean it's your data, and so part of I think the network trick on that is it's really important. There's this concept in AI called MCP, Model Context Protocol. The way to describe it is kind of like the USB connector, or how do you upload data to a model? Well, our industry needs something similar that's a little bit more specific. How do you actually organize customer data, an orchestration layer, such that it can be ingested by, what today is 56 different partners, and someday I hope will be 1,000 different partners. And you only have to organize your data once, and it's used by anyone that you say you want to have used. Now, with that, as an industry, to really make this work, we also need to develop a governance layer, because the worst thing is for you to upload your data or allow these AI applications to use your data, and all of a sudden they're training their models, and tomorrow they're going to go call on your biggest competitor, and your intelligence is going to make the competitor better. I mean, so there has to be governance too. And so the permissions on how AI works is going to have, those are going to have to be so strong. And all of you are sophisticated, and all of you are going to want to maintain control over how that happens. Now, you also have a great partner in Jan who can build those incredible models. It's a short step from the data curation that you've been so amazing at to actually building really sophisticated AI models. And I'm sure that's what
What we're planning to